Hi, and welcome or welcome back to the stream. Sorry, we were having some technical difficulties. My microphone settings decided to change themselves to a headset, which I'm not using right now, but for some reason it decided that was what it wanted to put as my default mic, and I didn't realize I was just talking into thin air, which is, always great. We do love that. But before I realized that nobody could hear a word I was saying, I hope Hyperbovian. I was saying that I should change my name from Pandadora to Nostradamus because probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I first started streaming, I was going to do one of my first shows as a deep dive on Jared Leto because I'm like, that guy is weird and a creep. And some news has come out about him today. I actually know a woman. I actually know a woman who was like one of those MySpace, girls back in the day. If you know, you know. She was like a 30 Seconds to Mars fan. I know some people, you like them even though they have bad tasting music. Sometimes you can look beyond that and still find the good in someone. But yeah, she had a story of a close call with him at a gig, and I remember her telling me about it. So I've always known that he was a bit of a creep. Yeah, always known he was a bit of a creep. I have not watched the news about him that's come out, but I assume it's probably from, circa 2008-ish. That would be my assumption. I know he was quite active then, if you know what I mean. I wanted to react with, get my live reactions and thoughts on the subject. But, yeah. 30 Seconds to Mars is a band. Yeah, 30 Seconds to Mars is a band. And Jared Leto and his brother are in the band, I believe. I don't know, because, their music just sounded shitty to me, so never listened. But yeah, Jared Leto is also an actor. I think most notably he dated Cameron Diaz, so he's kind of like that age range. I think he's probably... I don't think he's in his 30s. He might be, but I think he's in his 40s. I don't know. I'm not sure. But, yeah, he's kind of probably more famous among Gen Xers. I don't think Gen Z people would know him. Some millennials definitely know him. Yeah, he's he full on had a cult where like he would get like women to pay $20,000 or something to go spend a weekend with him on an island, and he would just like, I don't know. I guess they would be paying for him to... It's like reverse prostitution. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But, yeah, what should we do first? Let's do the crossword first so I can see if I can warm up my noggin. And then we'll get into some juicy fruits. Let's see. La la la. Our letter that we have to use is O, and the other letters are L, N, U, A, K, and C. Can we write clacker? Oh no, we can't because there's no O in it, right? Damn it. I got so excited. Loan. Clack. Oh no, no. You have to use O, you dum dum. I know the rules and I still in one ear, out the other. Lock. Just going for the most basic bitch words because I'm literally like stumped. Cannula? No, that doesn't happen. Oh. Clonopin. Oh, I can't have clone. There's no E. Clock. Duh. Knock. Oh, we weren't very bright today, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm not beating the bimbo allegations anytime soon, but you know what? I'm a ditzy woman, and that's okay. Sometimes that's all right. Sometimes being bubbly and a nice-ish person is enough, you know? We get by in this world. For this, you'll be swimming with the fishes. Birth related. They're in for a rude awakening? I don't know. Cut. Shortcut on PCs. Nairobi is its capital. Nairobi. Is that Kenya? That's my guess. Quick bite. Snack. Maneuver done from the left lane only. U-turn? In the worst way. Whom to tell, turn off the lights or play music. Alexa? I'm assuming. Alright, so control. This could be control. Control X. Is control X a shortcut to cutting? Because I usually do copying. Oh, hey, Dimpledore. You gotta wait an hour for work to start. Oh no. What time is it where you are? A rude awakening. Birth related is natal. For this, you'll be swimming in the fishes. Oh, is it your birthday, Dimpledore? Happy birthday, mate. I hope you had a really good one. For this, you'll be swimming with the fishes. Is this like a Godfather reference or a Simpsons reference? We just got one more to get, guys. It was on the 7th? Well, happy birthday. I hope you had a nice day. I hope you got to, yeah, just have a nice relaxing day. Maybe have some cake. You got yourself a gun? Well, that's a nice present for yourself, I guess. Guys, we've got one more to get to finish the crossword. We gotta go. For this, you'll be swimming with the fishes. Starts with an S, possibly. Finishes with an A, third letter U. I'm just gonna ask it to reveal. Sauna. Okay, sauna works. Oop, why do I always do that? Stop being so dyslexic for once. Thank you. Nearly. The puzzle is filled, but at least one square's a miss. Let's just ask it to reveal. Scuba. It was scuba. It was scuba, but we got everything right. That's okay. We didn't get scuba because somebody in the chat said sauna, and I was like, that doesn't really make sense, but I'll go with that. And yeah, I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you, Hyperbovian. So that's what you get. Yes. All right, let's see. Apparently LA is still on fire. Let's check in and see what's happening with these people. These Californians, I guess.
Marines are touching down in Los Angeles this morning as new protests pop up across the city.
To discuss, former LAPD Senior Detective Moses Castillo joins us now live. Moses, thank you so much for your time.
Who chooses the music for Channel 9? It's always like, sounds like it's at some sleazy club or like at a gay bar on Oxford Street. It's one or the other. This sounds like a bar that like 40-year-old lawyers go to after work to have some nose beers and like chat to girls way too young for them. That's, yeah. Oof. It's not appropriate music, guys. You're talking about like a riot and a city on fire.
Gee, the last 24 hours has been pretty wild. Most of these protests are confined to downtown, but the big worry is that they spread, right?
Yes, it's out of control. Right now, there's a large group that LAPD just now gave an announcement for them to clear the street. So hopefully these people will follow the orders and leave or get off the street peacefully.
There are a lot of authorities there, we know that for sure, and the LAPD, of course, among them. They've now launched an investigation into how our own reporter, Lauren Tomasi, was shot by a rubber bullet. When you look at that vision, does it look targeted to you, Moses?
Yeah, it was obviously targeted. Bro Carl is broing out. Yeah, Carl Stefanovic wants to be like I'm just an Aussie larrikin. Everyone look at me. I'm so funny. I report on the Logies when I'm hungover and I get drunk on television. Like, that's his whole thing. But he's like, you know, somebody that makes millions and millions of dollars a year. Like, his daughter is dating some guy she met on the Swiss ski fields. And she's a air quotes model. One of those like Nepo models. Yeah. Check it out, guys. Media class elitist behavior. Yeah, like, no offense to the daughter, but she wouldn't. It's when you're like not, you wouldn't be able to be a model because you're not like striking or tall or pretty enough, but you have rich parents, so they pay for you to get either plastic surgery or just for you to model. That's what a Nepo model is. Yeah. I'm not trying to be mean. Like, I'm not saying she's ugly, or I'm not saying anything like that, but she wouldn't be able to walk into a modeling agency if Karl Stefanovic wasn't her dad. They would tell her to go away. They tell most people to go away. Even really pretty girls, they tell to go away if they're not tall or not, skinny enough. It's actually used to be really, really hard to be a model. Like, it used to be incredibly hard to be a model. It was very competitive, and you had to be one, very, very striking. You had to have a very unique face. So even if you were a 10 out of 10, but they thought your face was boring, you couldn't be a model. You had to be, at least like 5'11". If you weren't tall enough, you couldn't be a model. You had to have a very low percentage of body fat too. Like, they wanted people with like 17 BMIs. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, the standard to be a model is so high for people that don't have connections. Like the Kardashian girls, for example, who got their whole face, remodeled so they could be models. And then obviously their parents had the connections at the modeling agencies. But like, say if they were just born in some rural town and they tried to model, they wouldn't be able to model. That's what I'm talking about. It's nothing against his daughter. She's, perfectly lovely looking. She's just not Miranda Kerr, or I'm trying to think of Australian supermodels. Gemma Ward, I don't even know who the supermodels are, but she's not one of these girls that just like gets discovered on the street. She just has a rich daddy.
I gotta tell you, when I saw that video, I said, wow, that does not look good. It almost looked like it was intentional by this officer. LAPD has a policy that this 40 millimeter launcher can be used in one of three ways. One is crowd control. 2 is for a violent suspect, or 3 is when de-escalation efforts have failed. I don't think any of those apply in this particular situation, because it looks like it was targeted to a particular person, and this person being your journalist.
What will the repercussions be for that officer?
Well, this will be thoroughly investigated. I can tell you that Police Chief Jim McDonnell and the Mayor Karen Brass have acknowledged this video and acknowledged that this incident occurred. And once they saw that, I have no doubt that they will fully investigate it. They'll do video analysis from all angles and determine what happened, and question the officer as to why he used this use of force. And then we'll see what happens. But potentially, if they find him that he did this out of policy, he could be facing some internal discipline, anything from an official reprimand to maybe a suspension or retraining, and worst case scenario, termination.
Moses, I guess that's all kind of
I hope he means firing by termination, not like hasta la vista termination.
longer term stuff, right? So right now you are dealing with chaotic scenes on the streets. Will the behaviour of LAPD or any other authorities change in the meantime?
Well, right now the hope is to people that would come to these places to peacefully protest, but if it's going to get out of hand, I think the police are ready to take action. They have already arrested over 90 people in the last several days, and from charges from assault with a deadly weapon against a police officer to vandalism to throwing objects at police officers. So I'm hoping that that trend will continue because we need to hold these people accountable.
Yeah, look, it is spreading, and it's got nothing to do in some parts with the actual protests and what they're about. So getting hold of that contagion is very difficult. It must be very difficult to organise on the ground.
It is. It's a logistical nightmare to be able to affect an arrest of literally hundreds, if not thousands of people. It's almost impossible to do that, but we got to do that immediately when we see some violent criminal behavior, so we could stop it and send the message that this will not be tolerated.
All right, good to talk to you, Moses. Difficult time.
To more breaking news now, and new protests are ramping up in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, with fears the riots could again escalate ahead of the arrival of US Marines. Our US correspondent Reed Butler joins.
Did you see the mayor talking about ICE withdrawing? No, I did not. I haven't actually had time to look at the news today. I just got home and was like, I've got to eat something and then I'm going to go stream. So I haven't had a lot of time to look at stuff, but I can have a look at it. I'll see if I can find her statements. What are they just saying? It's too unsafe for ICE to be working under these conditions? Is that the general gist? I would assume.
Joins us live from LA. Reed, what is happening where you are now?
Jane, up until about 1 minute ago, things here in downtown Los Angeles had been largely peaceful, but just literally moments ago, we have had this National Guard here move on these protesters that have gathered outside the Metropolitan Detention Centre, and they were firing tear gas. There were other incendiary devices being thrown onto the road, and we were witnessed, and we ourselves had to take cover behind vehicles.
She was saying ICE are provoking these riots and they need to leave California. Yeah, yeah. Because I don't know, like, at what point do you just say you're not going to legislate immigration at all, right? Because if you can't enforce immigration law, at what point do you just say, okay, well, we essentially have open borders, so why don't we have open borders? Because if ICE can't do their job, like, I don't know, like, are these people that are overstaying their visas? I'm sure that's a small percentage, but a lot of, like, people that have actually just crossed over the land borders, right, with absolutely no documentation. Like, the thing about Australia is, like, most of the people, sure, we have, like, people coming by boat to Indonesia, but it's a pretty perilous journey, and the likelihood that they're going to be intercepted and turned around is pretty high. But we have a small percentage of people that do make it over. But most of our illegal immigration, right, is from people overstaying their visas. Essentially, like, committing fraud to be able to stay in Australia. That's, like, so it's really hard because obviously I have quite a lot of experience in policy. I'm a social worker. I've worked in policy. It's really hard for me to even be able to conceptualize, like, how that works, because my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're targeting people that have entered the country illegally who have also committed additional crimes to enter in the country, right? They're not necessarily just going after people that are, I guess, by the very fact that they're in America without, you know, paperwork, or without having, you know, acquired visas and such, are, I guess, quote unquote, criminal in that respect. But I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they're going after people that have also committed crimes and are not citizens. Is that accurate? At least that's what I've read. That's what I've heard that the policy is supposed to be doing. I could, you know, I'm happy to be corrected.
On the other side of the road, what appeared to be happening was a large bus was trying to get through to the detention facility here, and the protesters were told to make way for that bus. It did appear that they were doing that. It looked like there was safe passage for the bus. but then just in an instant, the National Guard moved in and started firing that tear gas. You had people coughing and spitting up on the side of the road here, and like I mentioned, taking shelter behind the vehicles there. This is a new demonstration that has started just in the past few hours here outside the detention centre. This is where ICE detainees have been held and has become a focal point in these demonstrations in Los Angeles in the past few days here. And as you can see, that large National Guard presence there, also a massive focal point here. The California Governor, Gavin Newsom, he claims that the National Guard that Donald Trump has sent in.
Yeah, most of Australia's major infrastructure projects have also been built by immigrants too, like the Snowy River scheme, which is like a huge hydro power dam in the Snowy Mountains in Australia, was built by, including my grandpa, was built by immigrants, refugees. My grandpa was a refugee who came here after World War II. Yeah, we Australia has a similar thing where a lot of immigrants have built our infrastructure projects. And my dad's an immigrant. He helped build the Sydney Opera House. He also helped build the Franklin Dam in Tasmania, and he's worked on basically every major like highway project and everything in Australia. So
are inflaming the situation and should leave. He's filed an emergency motion to that effect, which we're expecting for a result on soon later this morning. But as of right now, you can see this large part of the road here has been blocked off, and the authorities.
well, something happened.
We have lost Reid Butler there. He is live in LA with the very latest.
A lot going on both here and abroad this morning, and for more, I'm joined by Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong live in Canberra. Penny, good morning. Lovely to see you this morning, and that big smile on your face. It must be because Australia is heading to the World Cup, huh?
The World Cup, isn't it wonderful? So congratulations to the Socceroos. A great result, and I hope this encourages, kids around Australia to.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic, Dimpledore, but it was a sick story. Yeah, cool story, bro. It was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed telling it.
To get into soccer. We're a soccer family and spend a lot of our weekends watching and playing soccer, so it's fantastic.
It's a great vibe. Okay, but let's head to LA now. 40,000 Aussies live in LA. How worried are you about the unrest there?
Obviously, it's deeply troubling, and we've seen a lot of really concerning images. I won't comment on the domestic policies, but I would say
thank you, Dimpledore. I appreciate that.
To Australians, please avoid the protest area and please listen to the instructions and news from the authorities and stay safe.
Are you worried about it spreading?
I'm not going to get into the speculation about that, but I would say please stay safe and avoid protests.
Okay, what form has our complaint about Lauren Tomasi to the US taken?
Well, Kyle, can I first say how it's good to see that Lauren is in good shape and she's okay, and how awful it was, that image, that footage of it was really awful, and you've heard the Prime Minister's response. We've made the appropriate representations, and I'm very conscious also that we should handle this in the way.
Yeah, I just know, Dimpledore, I just know sometimes when, people are being smartasses, they're like, cool story, bro, or whatever. So I wasn't really sure if you were being like that, but yeah. Or like, I was looking at, because I've been multi-streaming, so I've been multi-streaming on Kick and YouTube as well. And I was looking at my Kick stream, and somebody just wrote in the chat, no one cares. And I was like, cool, don't watch that, mate. Like, I don't care. I'm just some chick speaking into the microphone, like, if you don't want to listen, you don't have to, but I like hanging out with people on the internet, yeah, it's a good time. Kick has a lot of asses. Yeah, probably. I think it's a lot more like Law of the Jungle over on Kick. I know that they're like allowed to, get away with a bit more spicy stuff over there. So I think there's just a lot of edgelords on there, but that's fine. I have two brothers. I'm used to people being mean to me. I just grew up with my brothers being awful to me every single day, so it's fine. Like, if little like 12-year-old edgelords want to get on the internet and be mean to me, like, that's okay. I am so used to it. My little brothers are still mean to me, and like, that's how they express their love. But then on my birthday, they'll like put a big post about how much they love me or whatever. And then the next day they'll be like, you're ugly and you smell. Go away. But that's just how brothers are.
Way Lauren is comfortable with. We obviously have reached out through the Consulate General in Los Angeles, stand ready to provide any assistance she needs. But more generally, Australia believes in a free media, and journalists should be able to do their job safely.
Here. Will Albo raise it before or during the meeting with Donald Trump?
Look, I think he answered that yesterday, mate, and you know he wouldn't telegraph these sorts of things ahead of the discussion. But please be assured that we have acted through all the appropriate diplomatic channels, and as I said, I'm glad that she is now she's safe, and we want to deal with this in the way that she wants.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have to stand up for Australia in whatever capacity is needed.
Wow.
We start Newsday in the United States, where a curfew.
Oh, here's the girl that got shot yesterday. Here's, is it Lauren Tomasi? I think her name is. I kind of like her. I think we would be friends. I think we would, like, have a beer together and talk shit about Karl Stefanovic. I think she would love it.
Do we have rubber bullets? Do we have rubber bullets? Do we have horses? Do we have horses? I don't care where you come from. Report the truth.
Just give you a bit of an idea of that's a flashbang grenade there. Just moving out of the way here, Kate. They've told people to get out of this area, and protesters have been refusing. We are safe here. It's just noisy. But you can see the volatility. I can see police here up firing off rubber bullets at these protesters. Just maybe step over here to the side. Very good. Yeah, we're just going to step over to the side. Whoops, so we're out of the way here. But I mean, all of this coming in the face of those immigration raids. There is just so much anger here in Los Angeles about what has been unfolding. Donald Trump deploying the National Guard, ordering 2,000 troops to be deployed. We've seen around 300 on the ground. I can just show you here. These protesters have pulled out umbrellas trying to avoid these projectiles that are being fired from those mounted police. You can probably see things flying through the air. We are safe, but I'm just going to, maybe we'll just step over to this side here. Yeah, guys, you can see it's a very volatile situation. I've got you guys, I've got you.
We're alive.
As we moving.
Paperback boys. Report the truth. Report the truth. White lady, report the truth.
They're just yelling at her, report the truth, report the truth. What is she saying that's not true? She's literally there on the ground. She's been shot with a rubber bullet. You know, she probably just put some arnica cream. This is an ad for arnica cream, by the way, but it is good for bruises. She probably just put some arnica cream on that shit, put a bandage on it, and off she went again. And they're yelling at her, report the truth, report the truth. What do you want her to do? She's literally there. Hey friend, I see your channel needs an audience to watch your stream, so you could start earning $24 per hour with Kick, with which I can involve your channel to get 3,000 followers. Yeah, I'm not buying bots, mate. I'm not buying bots as Stu. Oh, that's on Kick. I've got bots following my Kick account so they can try and sell me followers. Oh, that's so funny. A follower is a follower. I don't care if you're a bot. But yeah, like, what do they think that yelling at her and getting in her face is going to do? Like, grow up. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Like,
They escalated.
There are definitely more than 1,000. There have been thousands moving down here from Australia.
Yeah, she doesn't have a dog in this race, mate. She's not American. She's not interested in pushing an agenda. She's literally on the ground. She's literally recounting what happens, which is what journalists are supposed to do. In our report, you are supposed to recount events. Let's learn about it together in Pandadora's English class. I hope that girl that was yelling in her face brushed her teeth, because that would be really, really stinky. Imagine if she had like really bad breath. I mean, Laura Tomasi's out here taking one for the team, really, bro. Because if someone was yelling at me like that, I would start yelling back and I would start throwing punches. Because, seriously, I cannot deal.
Look, there's a huge amount of police here, a huge amount of protesters. You can see the amount of emotion that's unfolding here. People are angry. We're just going to step across to the side here. Yeah, look, you can... sorry, guys, people are a little bit angry here.
Do we have rubber bullets? Do we have rubber bullets? Do we have horses?
She's not the cops. And I notice how you're going after an unarmed woman reporter. You're not going after the police. Go and start a fight with the police. Why are you yelling at her? She's literally just telling everybody what's going on. She's actually been very sympathetic towards the rioters or the protesters. You know, not all of the protesters are rioters. I think she's been very fair. Imagine you're a small Australian woman and you've just got these psychos yelling at you. She doesn't work for the American government. She doesn't work for the American media. She's just there to report. Let her do her job, because all people see is you yelling at and harassing a small woman. And that makes people, you know, not sympathize with your cause. Yeah, I get that it's basic terrorist theory, but I don't know. I like to not be a psycho. That's how I like to conduct myself personally. I mean, it's up to other people if they think that there's certain moral lines to cross, but I'm not yelling at anybody or going after anybody that hasn't tried to attack me first. If you want people from other countries to support you, then maybe don't attack small petite women. There's no need to be spitting in this lady's face. That's absolutely foul. You know, I don't know if they have this saying in America, but say it, don't spray it, love. Like, come on.
Do we have horses? I don't care where you come from. Report the truth. Where you come from.
Yeah, we're all good, guys.
Like, I think the protesters really have to understand that PR is important. And if they want the American public on their side, and let's just say, in theory, if you were trying to start some type of a revolution and you wanted people on your side, optics are incredibly important. And yet behaving in a certain way, like for me, when I see, like, this woman got shot in the leg to cover what's going on in America, and like, just show her some respect. What is she saying that's not true? You're not even listening to what she's saying. You just start yelling at her. She's got men coming up to her and yelling at her. I mean, it's bad enough that that chick was going feral at her and like spitting on her. Like, actual just feralness. Talking about feralness, this is a good segue into, Jared Leto. Jared flippin' Leto. Long time no see, mate. Thought you'd fallen into obscurity, but you are back. You are back with some sex pest allegations. Let's get into it. Do 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 do.
is the latest celebrity in the spotlight for allegations of sexual misconduct. 9 women have accused the 53-year-old of predatory behavior, saying that his alleged bad acts were an open secret in Hollywood and beyond. All disturbing claims that he completely denies. So what kind of consequences could he face in a criminal or civil court or the court of public opinion? We're breaking it all down.
I don't know Hyperbovian. He's also almost back in Pog form because look at the shape of his head. It's giving Pog.
On for you right now. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
That makeup is a crime against humanity, Jared Leto.
Reportedly started with a throwback post on Instagram. DJ former model Allie Teals posted a screenshot of a Facebook status from back in 2012, which was 13 years ago, if you can actually believe that. Now, in that status, she'd written, "You're not really in LA until Jared Leto tries to force himself on you backstage at an M83 show in a kilt and a snow hat." She added the comment, "Throwback to 2012, Jared Leto was a creep then, still a creep now, going on 15 plus years of being Hollywood's most persistent predator in a kilt." Now, Jared...
Yeah, and I know people that he met on MySpace and tried to, well, I have to say allegedly, obviously, but the woman that told me this story about him, I 100% believe because she has no reason to lie about it. She didn't actually have anything bad happen to her because she was still sober enough to get away. But yeah, it could have definitely gone worse. So this is a guy that's been on my radar for a while, especially with his weird cult that he started. Oh, there's so much stuff to get into. We've got a whopper of a stream tonight, guys.
Jared Leto has been working in Hollywood since the 1990s, winning both an Oscar and a Golden Globe for his acting roles. He's also the frontman for the band 30 Seconds to Mars, which he formed in 1998 with his brother. The band is wrapping up its latest world tour next month in Portugal. So you know what happens next, right? Allie's post, as you can imagine, it sets off a firestorm of sorts. She started to share direct messages that she was getting from friends and acquaintances, all of whom said they too had allegedly been victimized by Leto personally or had friends who had. And one of the replies to the Instagram story reads, "Yeah, I was 16 in Arizona too when him and his brother invited me and my friend on his tour bus after a show." Then there's a monkey covering its face emoji. Another said, "OMG, my friend was fully groomed and she was abused at the hands of him for years and had to sign an NDA. A few more examples. "He hit on me at a concert when I was 15 and he was 30, got my number and invited me to a party, but my parents were aware and refused to let me go." Jared Leto.
Good friends, good friends. Why is it always women under the age of 25 that they target? They don't want women that have like the witherall to like be aware of what's going on or are savvy enough or experienced enough to see all the red flags and get the F out before it goes, you know, it goes to shiz. Like, these people are so terrifying. The thing is, like, these men are able to do this type of things for decades and decades and decades. And it's only when, like, they're no longer lucrative, they're no longer making a lot of money. And I guess, like, the music industry or the film industry, in Jared Leto's case, both, they have no financial incentive to protect them anymore. And then all of a sudden, like, these people are thrown to the wolves and finally brought to justice. But they're just allowed to go around, you know, wording and essaying and doing all types of heinous things to people with impunity. And, you know, until they become irrelevant enough to society. And then they're able to be held, you know, held responsible for their actions. It's pretty crazy when you think about it, because there was no way like Harvey Weinstein or any of these people at the peak of their power, or what's his name, the Bill Cosby or something like that at the height of his fame was ever going to be held responsible for the heinous stuff he did.
kicked me off of our first major tour because I reported him for engaging with underage fans in his tour bus. He used his power to crush this major dream come true, and he buried us. I'll never forget how deafening the backlash was. It was traumatic. And someone else reportedly sent a message saying that she was very surprised that Jared Leto wasn't named during the height of the Me Too movement. They wrote, "He is 1,000,000% a predator. In 2017, many of us assumed he would be called out during the hashtag Me Too movement. I know several women who were underage when he slept with them, and several others who were subject to downright bleeped up circumstances at his whim. But somehow he dodged the movement. I've heard from sources I can't reveal that after 2017, his assistants hold his recruits in a blobby area of his home where they sign NDAs before he'll hang out with them. All very young."
What are you doing that you need people to sign an NDA before they have relationships with you? Like, what type of weird stuff are you into, mate? I mean, I don't actually want to know, but yeah, guess what? If you do anything criminal, NDAs don't apply to criminal activity. You can still report somebody that does something illegal to you, even if you've signed an NDA. Just, you know, for your information, for any women that have hooked up with anybody at a show or anybody, like, anywhere really that's like some type of high profile person, if they get you to sign an NDA but they've hurt you in any way and they've done something non-consensual to you, you can still 100% go to the cops. Like, don't be scared. I know it's scary. I know legal documents are scary, but you can go to the cops. Like, NDAs are for like protecting trade secrets and things like that. Like, they were never supposed to be used to silence victims of crime. They're very much like a civil thing. If somebody's done something criminal to you, that's the police and that's the criminal justice system. Completely different. So just, yeah, doesn't matter what you've signed. Nobody has the right to violate you in a way that you don't consent to.
Looking models. I understand that his weird band fan base defends him like K-pop fandom, but why does Hollywood keep hiring him? Literally everyone in this town knows what he's like. And these allegations, they were broadcast to an even wider audience when the news outlet Airmail published an article over the weekend titled "The Cult of Leto." He has acted in everything from American Psycho to House of Gucci. Now Jared Leto stands accused of impropriety by 9 women. Now I have to be clear about something, okay? I want to say that at this point, Leto has denied all allegations of impropriety.
There's people have been knowing about this for at least 20 years. I have to say, people have known about him for at least 20 years. Yeah, like it's like a Harvey Weinstein thing, right? People even make jokes about it. Like, it's a well-known, you know, cultural fact. People know. People just kind of almost laugh about it. People almost kind of like, you know, he's just known as being a bit of a sex pest in Hollywood. Yeah, but I mean, obviously these people are just so desensitized to that type of crap. They're probably most, if not all of these people have been in some type of casting couch situation in their lives. So I guess they have to normalize it to some degree, right? They have to normalize it and kind of see it as not being a big deal. Otherwise, they have to sit alone in the dark before they fall asleep at night and think about what's actually happened to them. Yeah, they might be going to sleep in a nice big mansion, but I would rather not have things that keep me awake at night and go to sleep in a tiny little flat with my cat. It sounds far nicer to me.
He does not face any sort of criminal charges or other legal ramifications as of now. In response, by the way, to Ali's flurry of posts about his alleged behavior, his team said Ms. Teal's allegations are demonstrably false. But here's the question. Could Jared Leto...
If they're demonstrably false, then demonstrate how they're false. I think people just throw around the word demonstrably. They don't know what it means. It's pretty funny.
Leto's alleged crimes or misconduct, were they an open secret? Because as she shared the messages that she was getting from others who had alleged stories to tell about Leto, Ali also shared an old Onion headline from 2023 on her Instagram story that read, Jared Leto asks if he ever's going to get into real trouble for that stuff he's been doing, adding a comment that The Onion, a satirical newspaper that posts fabricated stories, never misses, seeming to suggest that there had to be something there in the first place.
Yeah, see, everybody knows. Literally everybody has known about him for ages. And yet, for some reason, he's just been able to do it. Oh, Jared Leto has a Sex Fest Island as well. We'll be getting to that later. He actually had a cult weekend where he made people pay. He made women pay to come to his Sex Fest Island. But we'll get to that after this video. The Onion roasting him? Yeah, 100%. Like, this is the thing, right? Like, hey, Dango, good to see you. This is the thing. People have known about this for a while. Like, this is well-known stuff. It's insane.
For The Onion to even write a fake article about it. And by the way, in 2015, I don't know if you remember this, James Gunn, the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy films, apparently posted a video on what was then called Twitter calling out Jared Leto for his alleged behavior. Now, the video was quickly taken down, but from reports from those who say that Gunn claimed Jared Leto sleeps with underage girls. And the next morning, Gunn posted on Instagram, "Good morning to Bogota, Colombia, and sorry to all of you around the world who saw my Ambien-fueled Periscope session last night at 3 a.m. Yes, I erased it." So, I want to dig into what several women
See you, Dimpledore. I hope you have a good day at work.
had to apparently say to Air Mail about Jared Leto, as well as reaction from his camp. And to do that, let me bring back on, here on Sidebar, friend of the show, criminal law attorney and former prosecutor, Melba Pearson. Melba, so good to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Great to see you, Jesse.
When you first saw these headlines, Jared Leto, sexual misconduct, seemingly allegations of sexual assault, what was your reaction?
Jesse, nothing surprises me anymore. Sadly, we're learning on a daily basis of the horrific behavior of many men in Hollywood, or whether it's the music industry, Hollywood, whatever the case may be, celebrities that have been engaging in bad behavior for decades and have never faced accountability. And it was an open secret and everybody kind of knew and all of that, but nobody actually came forward and reported anything. Nobody actually took action, either out of fear in terms of their careers or fear of getting sued, or, again, looking at someone posting a video talking about and calling him out for what he's done, and then the next minute the video's gone. That tells me there was some kind of pressure there to take it down, not because it was inaccurate, probably because it was accurate, and the Jared was in his camp were obviously afraid that more people having attention to this would mean more people coming forward and potentially either criminal charges or a civil lawsuit.
Why would he do his makeup in a way that draws attention to the fact that his eyes are so close together? Like, could his eyes get any more close together? And if Jared Leto is accused of any of the things that he's done, which I think there's good reason to believe that he is, I don't care if I'm being mean by attacking his appearance. Jared, your eyes are too close together. I said it.
By the way, totally off topic, but very, very important. Can we talk about debt for a second? Debt doesn't just show up one day.
No, we can't. We can't talk about debt, actually. I played for YouTube Premium, so I don't get ads, okay? So shush.
That's 866-891-2821, or head over to...
Shush.
At this point, if you were representing Jared Leto, what would you advise him to do and not do?
First of all, I'll tell him to stay his behind home. Like, just stop.
Don't go on living your life? Don't go on performing or living your life?
No, in terms of, yes, go to your gigs, do what you have contracted to do. But no parties. Kind of just stay under the radar for a few months. You don't need to be on the front page of every magazine or tabloid.
How old is he to still be carrying on like this, mate? You're not a rock star. You're a middle-aged, almost pensioner. Jared Leto. He's got to be in his 40s, right? Age. He's 53 years old. He is 53 years old. He's not He is in the winter of his life, everybody. He's in the final season of his life. Well, no, it's probably in the autumn of his life, but still. Yeah. 55 years old. Oh my goodness. Grow the F up, mate. It's so try hard.
Showing you at a party, because again, that opens up the opportunity for somebody to be like, oh, I was at that party and I saw XYZ. Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't, but it opens up the possibility of more liability. So I'd say do what you're contracted to do, stay home, keep your mouth shut. Don't go out and start saying this one's lying and this one's this, because again, that keeps the story in the headlines, number one. And number two, it sends the internet sleuths into a frenzy. So folks will be like, wait a minute, I'm going to see if this person's lying, and I'm going to start doing research to figure out whether or not I can tie you to this particular party, or I can tie you to this particular incident. Now, that ends up creating more evidence.
Internet sleuths are so impressive. Like, the amount of, like, I take my hats off to the unemployed, because they are the best detectives ever. They have nothing but time to sit there and, like, triangulate, like, where the sun was and what type of trees grow in this climate, and working out where people are. Remember when 4chan found, like, Shia LaBeouf by, like, working out what's kind of like pine was growing outside his like cabin in Iceland or something? I don't know. Internet sleuths are like a next level these days. Like they're out here, you know, solving all the world's mysteries. Mainly they just use it for doxing people, but they could be using it for good.
Which again would be the last thing that Leto's camp would want.
So the author of this article for Airmail, Elena Clavarino, says that she spoke to 9 women, most of whom chose to remain anonymous. And one of the unidentified women told Airmail that she first met Jared Leto in 2006 when she was 16. She was apparently at a cafe with her mother, who was outside waiting for a table, and she went inside to use the restroom, and she claims someone grabbed her arm.
Hitting on a 16-year-old. So if he's in his 50s now, 20 years ago, he would have been in his 30s. He would have been in his 30s, and he's sitting on a 16-year-old girl. So he's twice her age. Twice her age. So sorry, I know I'm just repeating myself, but I'm really trying to emphasize. She was 16. He was in her 30s. He was in his 30s. She was 16. 16 is legal in Australia. I know it's not legal in the United States, but it's illegal in Australia. But if you are an adult that dates a 16-year-old, in Australia, you're probably going to get your teeth rearranged. You're probably going to get some free, you know, root canals done by people that find out what you're doing. It's frowned upon. It's obviously not frowned upon in Hollywood. Oof. Like, what a feral man. And your makeup is bad. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. You look like a knob. You look like an absolute try-hard knob. Like, grow up, mate.
And when she looked down,
I have to say my catchphrase. Disgusting behavior.
It was reportedly Jared Leto sitting with Ashley Olsen, who he was rumored to be dating at the time. She told Airmail, "We had a quick conversation and he got my number." And then she claims that Jared Leto ended up calling her house in the middle of the night, saying that he was hosting a party at his house with his friend, nightlife promoter Brent Bolthouse. So he invited her to come.
Oh, he looks like a creep.
Telling Airmail, "I didn't even have a driver's license." She claims that Leto continued to call her over the next few weeks, always very late at night, and she says the conversations allegedly always took a sexual turn, with him wanting to know who she was dating and how experienced she was. Now, Melba, that's the problem, right?
Why do these guys always want to know if girls are virgins and if they've had sex, and then they want to know all about it? There seems to be a theme with these sickos. Absolute sickos. Disgusting behavior.
Parent persistence that's really unsettling. In terms of whether or not this would ever to make it in front of a jury, either a civil case or a criminal case, is there a way to explain this in a less nefarious way?
No, quite frankly, because why are you calling a 16-year-old girl in the middle of the night? Why? There's no, if you're not her, even if you're a relative, you shouldn't be calling a 16-year-old girl at like 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 in the morning. For what? And
Is it a
why are you
crime?
doing that?
Is it a crime?
Huh?
That's a question. Is it a crime?
It's in and of itself, it's not a crime unless we're getting into the realm of stalking. Because let's say if she and her
It's not a crime, but it certainly helps to substantiate a pattern of behavior. Grooming, it helps to substantiate grooming. It means that you obviously were very inappropriate with this young lady from the get-go. So yeah, it's not a crime in and of itself, but it definitely is a piece of a puzzle for a jury, for example.
Mom, because I don't know if she was the one who her mother overheard the conversations and kind of, cut things off. But regardless, if she or her mother or somebody said, stop calling, or I'm not interested, and he still kept persisting and calling and, making sexual comments, now you've gotten into the realm of stalking. Is there an argument to be made that, again, we're looking at grooming, child exploitation? Maybe, but I think it would be a huge stretch.
So the airmail reports that the woman's mother confirmed the story, had overheard at least one of their phone calls. Does that put any responsibility on the mother?
Well, I mean, there's always responsibility on the mom, right? Just to make sure that you know where your child is, you know who your child is interacting with, and if you see something that's nefarious, getting involved. But the good thing is the mom does bolster the credibility of...
My dad would have drove to Jared Leto's house with a shovel and something else that starts with an S, and probably would be incarcerated still for the things that he would do to Jared Leto if Jared Leto had tried to pick me up. If men even look at me the wrong way when I'm with my dad in public, he gets so mad. He gets so mad. He doesn't like it. Don't look at young women like they're pieces of meat, guys, unless you want to get punched in the face by a tattooed man, because that is what will happen if you check me out in public and I am with my daddy. You're gonna be in trouble. I should say dad, right? Because people use the word daddy in like a gross, degenerate way now. I don't. You people are sick. You need help. Disgusting behavior.
Of what her daughter is saying, and it's not that her daughter misheard or misunderstood, or maybe she didn't grasp what was being said. The mom's like, no, I'm an adult, I've heard what was said, I know exactly what that word track means and what the intention is behind it. Now, of course, the argument could be made that the mom, that this is all a money grab. I'm not saying that that's the case, but the argument could be made that this is a money grab, and of course the mom is going to substantiate her daughter so they can all get paid. But at the same token, when you're looking at so many young ladies saying the same exact story or very similar stories, when there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, one of the women who went on the record with airmail, this model named Laura LaRue, she claims she was 16 when she says she met Jared Leto at an animal rights benefit in Beverly Hills in 2008. She claims Leto asked her age.
Yeah, and these guys are always going to like vegan rallies and animal rights rallies and like, I'm such a good guy, look at what a good... These people always hide behind like the cliche left-wing causes as like some kind of like shield, right? To protect their image, like, oh, I'm such a good person, look at me, look at all the good things I do, look at all the things I do for charity and for all these good causes, and behind the scenes they're just absolute disgusting, vile degenerates who prey on literal children. Absolutely disgusting behavior.
And despite her saying 16 and her mother standing with her, he reportedly asked for her number. So really important in kind of a knowledge component if these allegations are true. And according to airmail, her mom didn't really stop it because she thought knowing Jared Leto could help Laura's modeling career. Laura was apparently living in Ojai, this is northwest of LA, but often traveled into LA for work. And that's how she says she ended up.
Oh, that's the worst, when the mum's like a social climber, sort of pimp type character. She knew that this guy was pursuing her daughter, but she was like, no. She probably would encourage her to sleep with her, right? To sleep with him, right? To build the connections. That's, yeah, yeah, you're essentially trafficking your child, you weirdo. Get help.
Visiting Jared Leto several times at his home where he would allegedly tease her and flirt with her. She says at least once he allegedly walked around totally naked. Now, in a statement to airmail, a spokesperson for Jared Leto said, their communications contain nothing sexual or inappropriate, and Mrs. LaRue later applied to work as Mr. Leto's personal assistant, further underscoring the absence of anything inappropriate in any of their interactions. But Laura told airmail that she never applied to work as Leto's personal assistant. It's interesting, that statement, right? Because Melba, he's confirming they had communications. It's not like I have no idea who she is.
Exactly. And okay, maybe in text messages or emails, there's nothing sexually explicit. That doesn't mean that the oral communications, which may not have been taped or witnessed or anything like.
Yeah, he's probably going to be really careful with text messages and stuff like that. But in the early 2000s, we didn't have smartphones, right? We couldn't just record conversations with people. So he'd probably like wait to say the really smutty stuff to her, the really creepy stuff to her in person, right? And then just keep it like PG 13 plus when he's like sending her little AOL messages, MSN Messenger, whatever else people used back in the day. I don't know.
Like that were inappropriate. Because again, remember, these types of crimes and scenarios generally happen one-on-one. You don't have a crowd witnessing that grooming of a child and that inappropriateness. It's usually the child being like, this is what happened to me. So again, I like the fact that they acknowledge the interaction, because again, that gives credibility to the fact like she knows exactly who he is and he knows exactly who she is. And this is not somebody who just came out of nowhere, again, trying to make a money grab, because that's always going to be the argument. This is a money grab. You know, he doesn't know these people. They were all looking to him for some assistance and he wasn't able to help them. So now this is revenge or something along those lines. And this kind of starts to take away from that argument.
Immediately knew who she was. 2008, right? This is so many years ago. What does that tell you?
There's something about her that was memorable. And maybe that, again, he was not able to get what he wanted. So this is one that stuck in his head. I don't know. But the fact that he was able to remember her so quickly, that's not good.
And even if she had applied to work for him, does that make any difference?
No, because again, she's a child. She's underage. So you have no business flirting with.
Yeah, she can't consent anyway. And who knows what type of what the trauma did to her. If that's like the guy that she's losing her virginity to potentially as well, that obviously could form some type of weird trauma bond, like
being naked in front of a child. And if she ended up applying later on, again, I believe she made a statement of, well, I just thought that's what adult men did. So she was very naive and not understanding that this was very problematic. And also, if she ends up going to work for him, was it at his insistence, right? Like in that scenario, let's say he was the one that was like, oh, hey, you should come work with me. I'll be able to help your career, et cetera, et cetera. She could present it to her mom like, hey, Jared Leto's going to help my career. It's going to be great. She goes and works for him. And then much like what we heard with R. Kelly and so many others, things go sideways.
Then you had another anonymous accuser said that she started texting with Jared Leto when she was underage, and that once she turned 18, his behavior allegedly became overtly sexual almost immediately.
Yeah.
Melba, if that allegation's true, This goes to the idea.
So some of them, he actually waits. He grooms them, he, slowly builds up the rapport, builds up the trust. Bang. Yuck. Yuck. So gross. What a freaking creep. How different would the world be with single dads rather than single mums? Yeah, I think single dads tend to be very, very protective, especially if they have daughters. That would be my assumption anyway. I have a very present, protective father. He lets me do whatever I want, but if I do go to him with problems, he's very proactive in trying to help me and protect me. But he's never been he's made a few jokes before when I was younger. If I was wearing a short dress or something and I was leaving the house, he'd be like, "Where's the rest of that dress, Missy?" And I'd be like, "It's called fashion." And he'd go, "All right, have a good time. See you when you get home. Or if you're not coming home, make sure you call me." Be like, "Yep, I'm just literally going to the movies, but I will be home." Yeah. But yeah, I think it's good for a dad to walk the line of being protective and being whatever, but also not being overbearing and weird and puritanical. But my dad always made sure that I knew that I could tell him anything and that he wouldn't judge me for it, which, if anything did happen to me when I was young, anything like a Jared type of situation, he would wouldn't make me feel ashamed for it. And I think that's probably what you should aim to do as a dad. I think that's a good way to be.
Or the allegation of grooming, right? Starting out by building some sort of perceived relationship with an underage person, pushing things further and further and further over time. But again, if she turned 18, then things change though. I mean, does this open up any kind of legal liability for him if things change once she became an adult?
Well, how that information would be used would be in terms of common plan or scheme to show that this, whatever happened maybe with a different survivor, wasn't a one-off. So let's say there's another 16-year-old girl who he fully victimized, right? And at that point, that particular plaintiff or, victim, survivor, could then say, hey, even though this person turned into having a relationship with him once she reached the age of consent, he was engaging with her beforehand, much like he did with me.
Even if technically there isn't, something that's technically a crime, it doesn't mean it's not incredibly immoral, and it doesn't mean there's not a very clear pattern of behavior that is appearing. And I don't doubt there are more people that are going to come forward.
So it starts to show a broader pattern, which can be very compelling in a criminal case as well as in a civil case.
The question becomes, with all of these allegations, and they're still fresh, they're new, there's not a ton of detail, what kind of consequences could Jared Leto be facing because of these allegations? Well, he currently stars in the latest iteration of the Tron movies, with Disney releasing a new film in October. He's also set to play Skeletor in a new Masters of the Universe movie. And as I mentioned, his world tour with 30 Seconds to Mars wraps up soon after more than a year of concerts. So if the allegations like these keep coming from people seeing his films or going to see his shows, it could have an impact, I would imagine, on his career down the road. Melba, what is...
It seems like in the USA, people can seek damages separate from criminal charges. Yeah, so it's a tort, it's a civil wrong. If you want to pursue a monetary restitution for a crime that's been committed against you, it's completely separate to the criminal justice system. It's a civil case, so you would sue somebody for damages, and it has a very different burden of proof to a criminal case. A criminal case, you have to satisfy a jury to be 99% sure that something happened, and that burden of proof is called beyond reasonable doubt. With a civil action, you only have to satisfy a judge or jury to be 50% certain, which is called the balance of probabilities, to be 50% certain that something occurred the way that you allege that it did. So you need far less concrete proof. I guess you just need to be able to, show patterns and show some receipts. You don't need like DNA and video footage and things like that perhaps you would need to substantiate criminal charges against somebody.
The studio, what are the producers?
Could he be up for being sued? Potentially. It depends. It depends on what the particular laws and bylines in the American states where these occurred are, whether there's any statute of limitations. So typically, if you want to engage in some type of litigation, typically there is a window of time in once you have to commence, legal proceedings. There are, especially with things that involve like vulnerable people and like particular heinous crimes, like, SA of children and CSA and SS crimes and things like that. Typically, I don't know about America, but I know in a lot of jurisdictions in Australia, you kind of can just bring up historical charges. I'm not sure in America. I think even in America, there's statutes of limitations on murder charges. Like crimes like that have no statute of limitations in Australia. So I don't know. It's I've only ever studied the Australian legal system, so I can't really speak to it.
Producers, what are the concert venues? What do they do in situations like this?
Well, I mean, we've seen it happen with other high-profile celebrities who have been accused of misconduct. They start to lose contracts. They start to, be cut out of movies and things like that. They may not get certain venues may not want to work with them. So, it's my hope that he does start to feel those consequences because that behavior cannot be tolerated. And basically moving forward is also going to open the studios up to liability, because if they know that he's a problem and they have underage girls on set, whether it be as actors, as, interns, whatever the case may be, and something happens to one of them, they knew his reputation beforehand. Everybody's on notice at this point. So I think you're going to start to see a distancing of the...
He's so creepy looking because, like, he's obviously had some type of procedures to help him look young, but like he's still got like that weird, I don't know, he just looks like he bathes in formaldehyde or something. He looks like he's just gone to the morgue and gotten like some embalming fluids and just been bathing in them, but he just looks like a preserved corpse. He doesn't look like a person anymore, which is fitting. As like Roald Dahl said, right? Like your inside shine outwards.
Industry from him, at least until something is resolved. Either maybe this goes to court and it turns out he ends up being vindicated or something along those lines. But I think that he's going to see an impact in his pocketbook.
Now we got to talk about legal consequences, right? So things can get a little bit trickier. As far as we know, none of the women who spoke with Airmail have made any sort of official report to police. My understanding, the statute of limitations in LA for sex crimes is typically 10 years, but there are changes that have been made over the last few years.
Okay, he just said it's 10 years in Los Angeles. So, yeah, I mean... It can be very, very, very hard to sometimes they do make exceptions to statutes of limitations, but typically you would have to have a very good lawyer to be able to find a loophole to argue around that. And unless these girls have money, it looks like this creep could possibly just get away with it.
Allow people who were victims.
But look, he's probably going to lose a lot of endorsements and a lot of his future projects like films and things like that. He's obviously very, very, very rich in his own right now. He's probably got a lot of investments, probably owns a lot of properties. A lot of those people are probably, you know, very smart with their money. But at least, you know, his public reputation will be tarnished by this. Unfortunately, that might be the best we can ask for.
When they were children, to have the opportunity to seek justice in the courts. There are certain parameters, such as the age of the alleged victim.
I'm glad I live in Australia, where you can bring up historical child abuse charges and still get restitution. Oh my goodness.
Have options if they decided to come forward, whether it's in the civil arena, maybe the criminal. Melba, do you think there's anything legally that he should be concerned about?
Oh, absolutely. Because again, noting that the statute of limitations may be an issue.
He has a lot of obsessed fans. Don't put the Joker face up for Jared Leto, whatever his flippin' name is. No one cares because we don't respect him enough to learn it. There is only one Joker. Well, there isn't only one Joker. There's a few. But we know the greatest Joker was the one and only Western Australian boy, Heath Ledger. Yes, respect. Ultimate Joker performance. Yeah, keep Jared Leto's name and the Joker out of your mouth in the same sentence. Thank you.
Again, if you were talking to an underage girl last year, guess what? You're well within the statute of limitations for criminal charges, depending on what happened during that transaction. And then, of course,
I thought you put up the Joker face because you knew Jared Leto played the Joker in those Suicide Squad movies. Didn't you know that? Those like ones with Margot Robbie wearing, I don't know, everyone was frothing over her being Harley Quinn or whatever. Yeah, he played the Joker in those movies.
course, as you noted, you have the Adult Survivors Act that could potentially come into play here. Again, there are a few factors that have to, fall
Your
into place.
eyes are too close, mother flipper.
That would give the survivors the opportunity to sue him in civil court and be able to get some accountability that way. So everything is pretty much on the table, again, depending on the time frame. So he has a lot to be concerned about.
These are just allegations. Let me say it again. These are just allegations at this point. But just brainstorming from a legal point of view, because we're covering the Diddy case, there are times when there could be a statute of limitations issue that you can't bring state criminal charges, but you could bring federal charges. So older claims that are transformed into some sort of federal charge, but that's extreme examples. And I have to say, at this point, based on these allegations, without further detail.
Yeah, but Diddy had trafficking and RICO charges. That's why it was a federal matter. Unless Jared Leto's pulling like stuff over state lines and international lines and doing all this weird shit, he's not going to get federal charges. It's just not going to happen. He's just a sorry, I'm trying not to swear. He's just a flippin' creep.
I don't know if they would necessarily support a federal charge, but theoretically, if more details came forward, maybe. I know that's very, very nebulous, but that's something to be thinking about.
Yeah, I think it sounded from what I've read that a lot of this was concentrated within the state of California. And if that's the case, then it's less likely to be federal because we're not crossing state lines. Now, if he's using the internet to be able to bring people to LA or something like that, or, if he's texting people from another state and somehow bringing them to him, now that could open the door for a federal investigation and potentially charges. But, from what I'm reading so far, if everything is he met him in California and any of the contacts happen in California, I think it's less likely to see federal charges.
Well, here's what's interesting. I'm curious if you think authorities are now going to look into this, because how many times has it come from some sort of reporting or documentary or a lawsuit? Have there been a criminal investigation? It's happened so many times in the past whether it was Harvey Weinstein or R. Kelly or Sean Combs. And by the way, not saying that he's anywhere in the same category as those individuals.
A creep is a creep is a creep, mate. Come on.
Or some sort of documentary or a civil suit. There's something that can come forward that sparks a criminal investigation. Do you think authorities are looking into this now?
I hope they are. I hope they are. I think about how Trevor Noah actually.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing? Girl, no. Look at this. Sorry, this will not fly. Pearl necklace with this, whatever this is, this little mesh number. It's not giving. It's not giving, mate. It's giving clown. It's giving S-Predator clown, which I guess is apt because that's what you are. So yeah, maybe it is a good outfit choice for you, Jared. Good work. I take that all back. Slay queen, you girl boss, you.
Actually joked about this, where he's like, if you want to see something investigated, put it in a Netflix documentary, right? And so that seemed to be like the pattern these days. You know, a lot of times you're seeing a lot of these stories happening contemporaneously, surviving R. Kelly, all of that, and then, you know, there's the prosecution and this and that. So I really do hope that authorities are looking into this, because even if they look into it and it turns out it's nothing, I'd rather them look into it and it turns out, okay, we can't move forward because we don't have enough here, rather than them not look into it and he's been a horrible predator harming multitudes of young girls and has been able to do so with impunity.
Well, I also imagine something to look out for, whether there's an investigation or not, is there is a strong possibility more people could come forward, right? So either two ways to look at it. If you are on one side that, oh my gosh, somebody spoke up, another person spoke up, now we can come forward, particularly if you're saying there's people closer in time, right? If he allegedly has been engaging in a pattern of this, then it didn't stop in 2023, right? Or 2024, he might have still been doing this, allegedly. The other way of looking at it, from his perspective, I imagine, if there are more allegations, it's a pile-on. Once somebody comes forward, then you know, the floodgates are open, anybody can come forward with false allegations against him.
Yeah, and conversely, it's safety in numbers for women that are scared and traumatized. He's an incredibly wealthy, incredibly powerful man in Los Angeles. Like, if you have Hollywood clout, you have clout in that city, right? You have influence, you have power, you have resources, you have connections. So yeah, you could be very uncharitable and say, well, it's bringing out the opportunists. They're all just, you know, trying to join in, trying to get their piece of the pie. Or you could say that these women have been through some pretty gross stuff with this absolutely disgusting fashion crime of a man. Yeah, call the fashion police. Where's Joan Rivers when we need her? God, rest in peace, woman. We need you now, doll. Oof. Yeah, these women, like, they have the safety, they have the, you know, this is coming out in the open, the media is covering this, they're going to feel a lot more safe and a lot more secure and a lot more supported in coming out. I think it's very uncharitable. When there's this much smoke, there's more than likely fire. I think it's very uncharitable to suggest that these women are coming out of the woodwork, you know, to try and get some type of monetary settlement. I think if Jared Leto touched me anywhere on my body at any time in my life, I would be traumatized and I would want money. Ooh. Ooh, brother. Ooh.
Them for a payday or whatnot. In other words, to say we shouldn't be surprised if the conversation continues about Jared Leto and more allegations come forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would expect more allegations to come forward because, again, much like we saw with the Diddy case and Cassie coming forward and how that opened the floodgates, I think it's the same type of situation here. It just takes one brave survivor to come forward and say, this happened to me. And now other people feel emboldened and feel empowered to come forward and speak their truth. Again, it lies on law enforcement, or if it's a civil situation, on the investigators working with the plaintiff's team to vet these survivors, vet their stories, look at whatever evidence that they may have, and do their due diligence so that, again, you're not bringing forward a suit that's not based in facts and evidence.
Now, again, Jared Leto and his team have denied all allegations against him. At
Yeah,
the time
of
this
course they
recording,
have.
There have
They're
been
dickheads.
no charges filed against him. There has not been an announcement or an indication of any kind of criminal investigation into him, and he has not been sued at the time of this recording. But again,
Hipsters,
we're
girls.
speculating about
If you see a guy that tries this card to need to be cool, run far away. Take it from me, ladies. Learn from my mistakes. Hipsters, not even once. The arty guys, not even once. Just go with a nice guy, a nice normal looking guy. They're your best bet. Just, yeah, stay away from these creeps. Save yourself the heartache.
what could happen or theoretically could happen as a result of this. Melba Pearson, thank you so much for taking the time. It was great to see you.
Great to see you, Jesse.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
That video was from the Law and Crime Network. I'm gonna give it a like. If you liked the video, I guess you guys can like and subscribe to his channel. Would probably help him out, seeing as though we're just sponging. We're doing fair right. What's it called? Fair use. That's what it's called. It's called fair use transformative content. But still, we're still grateful. Well, we're going to watch this video next about Jared Leto's cringy cult. Yes, he's also a cult leader. But if you can't tell, my throat is going to the poo-poos. So I'm going to go make another cup of hot tea to soothe my vocal cords. And I will be back momentarily. Not monetarily. You can give me money if you want. But I will be back momentarily.
do? No, they don't. I've actually never received an award for anything that I've ever. It's not a joke. It's nuts. I never in a million. They don't give Oscars to people like me. They do? No, they don't. I've actually never received an award for anything that I.
Yeah, because you're mediocre. You're mediocre. It's Morbin time. You mediocre dork.
Ever. It's not a joke.
No,
you can
but
laugh
you're a
later, but
joke.
don't laugh now.
You are a joke, Jared.
I'm sensitive. I'm an actor.
Yeah, he's sensitive. He has to go after young women because they don't know that like he's worthy of being mocked and laughed at. Women with any experience know that he's a loser and they laugh at him and it hurts his pride. It hurts his little feelings. Oh, little Jared. Wait, that Jared from Subway was like a PDF file, right? Maybe there's something with the name Jared. Maybe just put the name Jared on a list, ladies. I mean, 2 for 2. Let's no, let's not vilify everyone with the name Jared. I'm sure there are some Jareds that aren't creeps. Boom, boom. Oh yeah, in the club.
Hi guys, it's Madison Harnish. Welcome back to my Blue Kitchen for another crazy video. If you enjoy deep dives and like to analyze, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And well, let's get into the video. Today,
she's a very colorful young lady. I appreciate the effort. I appreciate the vibrant color. Her kitchen is cute. We're cooking with gas, guys. Let's go.
Today's video is going to be all about Jared Leto's cult that he started.
Yeah, it's a cult.
I have no
it's
idea
a cult,
what
babe.
This is. It's a little bit bizarre. Some people feel like it's a marketing ploy. Some people think it's an actual cult. Some people think that it's Jared Leto and his narcissism in full form. I don't really know what it is, so
It's
we're going
all
to
of
dive
the
into
above.
it today and figure that out together.
He's one of those irony post-irony hipsters where he's like, oh, it's a cult. But no, really, it's a cult. Oh, look below, it's a cult. No, but it's a cult. If you've never come across these freaking tryhards, I mean, Godspeed. But I unfortunately spent some years of my life with one. I mean, I deserve some type of medal, really.
Haven't heard much about Jared Leto lately, so before we dive into his weird cult thing, festival thing, before we dive into that, let's check out a vlog so we can see what Jared Leto has been up to lately.
Let's talk about the last 40 days. What a 40 days it's been. I emerged from the desert after a 2-week silent meditation.
Okay, Jesus. No, you cannot appropriate the life of the one and only Jesus Christ. I will not allow it. Poo on you, Jared, you try hard. And you have really weird eyes, and you have dirty looking hair, and you're creepy and you're weird. No one likes you, and you smell.
For 2 weeks, okay.
With no communication with the outside world, the entire planet was shut down, and life hasn't been the same since. How are y'all doing today? I found out all communication is now done on something called Zoom. Met some screaming people, which is a compliment. I learned how to make rice. First of all, I learned how to burn rice, then I learned how to make.
How does a fully grown man in his 50s not know how to make rice? Legitimate question. I've known how to make rice since I was 10. I've known how to make rice since I was 10. I've known how to make a full family meal since I was in primary school. Get help, Jared, you absolute freak.
Made rice, wrote some music, played some guitar, launched the Jared Leto Cinema Club with Ferris Bueller's Day Off, moved on to Tiger King with Joe Exotic, became Joe Exotic.
Meanwhile, me during quarantine, it's like wake up at 10 a.m., realize there's nothing to do, check my phone, in bed, then maybe go back to sleep, maybe decide to get up and eat some
sounds like the
food,
best day.
maybe decide to film a video. Like, that's my routine. Go to bed at 2 a.m., not because I'm doing things, but just because the day stretches on and you start to lose track of time, or
he has help, that's why he doesn't cook rice. Yeah, but he hasn't always been a celebrity, right? He would have, like, been a young teenager, like, with not much money, trying to become an actor at some stage, right? He would have, like, poor people know how to cook rice from a really young age because it's cheap. You just eat rice and beans because it's affordable. Yeah, I was really so good during the pandemic because of my health. I can't really go out and do things anyway. So I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Just working from home is different and everything else is the same. And because I'm on immunosuppressants, I had like a note from my doctor. So I got priority to like have my groceries delivered. I just sent like Woolworths this doctor's certificate saying that I had an autoimmune disease and I take immunosuppressant drugs. Because like if you were on like a type of chemotherapy, which is an immunosuppressant, which I am, you were like under very, very, very strict instructions not to leave your house pretty much at all during COVID. So I just had my my groceries delivered. It was very convenient. I just stayed at home. I just like binge watched every single K-drama. Oh, that was the first time I watched Hotel de Luna, life-changing. Amazing show. I watched The Tale of the Nine-Tailed, also a very good K-drama, which I highly recommend. My top 2 right there. Yeah, it just sprayed all the groceries that came into my house. I sprayed them with like Glen 20, which is like an antibacterial spray, which kills 99.99999% of viruses and bacteria. And yeah, that was it. That was life, you know. I don't get to have a social life because I am too tired. I barely have the energy to stream, but here I am doing my best. So give me a Tim Tam. Mystic Pop-Up Bar. Yeah, I love Mystic Pop-Up Bar. It's really cute. Yeah, that's the type of K-drama that I like the kind of fantasy K-drama that incorporates like Korean folklore into it. Ah, so nice. It's so, I love like the past life love story where like you're reunited with like your love that didn't turn out right in the last life and like you get a second chance. Oh, it's so romantic. It's so cute. I love it so much.
Even the concept of time. Meanwhile, Jared Leto is over here like, okay.
Jared Leto has ascended time and space. That's why he, I just worked it out. He's not affected by the precession of time. I thought he was sleeping in embalming fluids, in formaldehyde, but that's not true. He does no longer recognizes time, and time no longer recognizes him. He has transcended time and space, guys. His meditation, he's transcended. Forget about the Buddha. He's post-irony. Jared Leto is not only post-irony, he is also post-enlightenment. He is far beyond anything that your normie, uncool brain could ever conceptualize. Don't forget.
70 hours total, just this.
I always think it's a funny dichotomy when people claim to be like super zen and like I'm super zen, I meditate, I go on these retreats. I'm just like, spiritually above you.
Started a book club, cooked some more food.
I like this girl. She gets it, man. She gets it. 10 out of 10 would have a beer with. Loves it.
All profits going to Partners in Health. Walked around my house, celebrated our last album, America.
See, that's somebody that doesn't like themselves. Somebody that can't sit alone and can't sit still and be alone with their own thoughts. That's somebody that needs to be constantly stimulated by something outside of themselves. Yeah. He's just boring. He's just a boring person. If you're bored, then you're boring. Sorry to break the news to you. It's true. It's a party inside my ADHD riddled little brain all the time. There's people pinging out right now, just like shuffling around in there. It's great.
Launched a new 2020 list tee with all profits going to charity. Oh yeah, we got it in pink too. Did a wardrobe change on Instagram Live. Celebrated Easter in quarantine. Dabbled with TikTok. Wait a minute. Meditated some more.
Okay, first off, very impressive, all the stuff that Jared Leto's doing. He's definitely a very active person, and I commend him for that. Lots of goals, charities, all that kind of stuff. This video is not Jared Leto is a bad person video, but
he is.
But I also want to point out how slightly out of touch he is. I know a lot of people have talked about celebrities going onto social media or even talking during quarantine and how they just feel very out of touch with reality and what the rest of the world is dealing with. And I definitely think Jared Leto is one of those people. Because most of us, this is not realistic. I mean, let's be real. Most of us during quarantine were extremely nervous about losing our jobs. I actually lost a job.
Yeah, the financial stress of like not knowing what you were gonna do. Being able to get groceries delivered is one thing, but being able to afford the groceries and rent, I don't know about you, but like there was a rent freeze where I was, so they just froze rent, and that was a massive help. But yeah, it was incredibly stressful. I'm not a wealthy woman, so yeah. It was definitely a stressful time in that sense. But in terms of like boredom and yada, yada, yada and all that stuff, like I haven't really been able to, you know, enjoy a full social life in a while. So I was just like, same old.
Job during quarantine, that stuff is happening. And then Jared Leto's over here like, I'm trying on clothes and cooking pasta. That's great.
So that's my quarantine updates. Be safe, be sound, stay home for now.
The way that Jared Leto looks into the camera too reminds me of that meme where it's like blue eyes take selfies like.
Let me know what you've been up to in the comments below, and to be continued.
His eyes are creepy.
Okay, so that's what...
Wow, this girl has the same brand of ADHD as me. I love it.
Jared Leto has been up to during quarantine. But if you remember watching the beginning of that whole vlog, he mentions his 12-day or 2-week meditation retreat. And that's where this video is gonna get weird, because we are talking about the Jared Leto Cult Music Festival, Fire Festival #2. So rumors of Jared Leto starting a cult happened back in 2019 when reports came out that Jared Leto was walking around in this white dress looking like Jesus, like really similar, and invited his fans to join him on an isolated island. It's all majority white people walking around with white clothing, and it's just creepy. The Mars Island cult symbol is a triangle with a line through it. Members will even get that tattooed on them while...
Imagine being, I'm sorry if like you went to this cult meeting / retreat / F-wit gathering, but like I would never tell a soul if I went to this thing. I would never. You couldn't torture this out of me. How embarrassing. How absolutely embarrassing.
While they're staying at Mars Island. And here is the official description of Mars Island. Mars Island is a 3-night, all-inclusive festival experience. Relax and restore with yoga amongst the trees. Take a dip in the pool, catch a midnight screening, or gaze at the stars, and catch 2 intimate performances with 30 Seconds to Mars. Mars Island is an experience like no other. While I do think going on a trip to an island would be really cool, it's still...
Imagine how insufferable all of those horny hipster hippie chicks would be. I would rather stick bamboo into my fingernail beds than be around those people. You can imagine it's the hipster accents, they'd probably be like, yeah, my name is Star Tree Flower. My favorite band is Pansy Seed Riot. You probably haven't heard of them because, yeah, people just, you know, they don't understand me. Yeah, I can't even think of what these people say anymore because I haven't been around them. Exactly. They wait for you to make a good point and then they go, exactly. Like they were always, you know, always knew. Their favorite band is 30 Seconds to Mars. It may not be though. It may not be. They might be there ironically, post-ironically. You don't know. Yeah. No, this isn't actually my name. I changed my name to an embarrassing name as like a commentary on like parents of the 1970s. Yeah. It's like you probably wouldn't get it because yeah. Anyway, I have to go over here now. Goodbye.
It seems kind of scary to be trapped on an island with a bunch of strangers and everyone's wearing white. Like this could be like a horror movie film. Like it just sounds really creepy and scary to me.
It doesn't sound scary to me. It sounds incredibly lame. Push him into the ocean.
And all those people have to use the restroom. They have to take showers. They have to eat. It's a lot of resources that an island has to provide in like a short span of time. So here's a video of the island.
I'm sure they brought it over from the mainland. Like Tasmania has food. Tasmania has food and supplies. I'm sure they're fine. Oh, it's an actual resort. Okay, they're fine. They've probably even got electricity. It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
So here's the other thing. The costs to Mars Island are insane. Like,
of course
insane.
they would be.
So Mars Island, which is happening this August,
that's like 10,000 Australian dollars. Like, holy!
Is the coronavirus not a thing anymore? Like, okay. And the cheapest package, the cheapest package that this entire experience offers is the Stargazer South Camp package, which is currently priced at $1,499.
Yeah, I would rather camp than share a cabin with Starflower-Seed Moon Riot or whatever her flippin' name is. She's one annoying bitch.
For 3 days. So you're staying in a tent on a hot, humid island and going to 2 concerts. And that's worth $1,499.
It is glamping though.
I mean, I get if you're a diehard.
That isn't proper camping. That is glamping. I'm sorry. As a real camper girl, TM here. Yes, I am one of those girls. Before I was sick, I used to have my backpacker tent. I would go to the campsites where you have to carry everything with you. You can only get to, you know, on it by essentially bush bashing. You can't have open fires because you're in the middle of the bush. You have to bring a little gas stove to cook your noodles on. I'm one of those girls. That is not camping, girl. That is not camping. That is glamping. Sorry, it is. Man up and be a real tough bitch like me.
hard fan and this is like your favorite band ever, like I can understand why this would be exciting and like an opportunity you'd want to jump on. But I'm also just like, from the perspective of the band and Jared Leto himself, I'm just like, really? You're gonna charge your diehard fans $1,499?
Yes. He wants to exploit his diehard fans because they're the only ones that will give him that much money. I love you, sweetie, but Jared Leto would probably walk over his mum's dead corpse for money. Like, this is the type of person we're talking about. A disgusting man with a penchant for young ladies, shall we say, women of the underage variety, allegedly for entertainment purposes only.
To stay on an island in like these tents and everything, I just, okay. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the VIP Daydreamer package is currently $6,499. And this VIP package is located in sun lodges that are completely weatherproof, lockable. So were the tents not lockable?
No, tents aren't lockable typically, sweetie. And even if you do put a lock on them, they're very, very easy to get between the ground sheet and get inside the actual tent. But I digress. You really want to have a lockable door when Jared Leto's around. I'm just going to say it. Allegedly for entertainment purposes only. I mean, I don't have shit taste in music, so I wouldn't go to this thing anyway. But let's just say if I knew Jared Leto was in I Am a Petite Woman, who does appear to quite young to some people, I would be putting a lock on the door. Let's just say.
I could see this type of thing maybe being reasonable with like multiple artists and multiple bands where you're like, it's a genuine music festival. But to do all of this to only see 30 Seconds to Mars is definitely a little bit strange. The prices are insane. That's literally like 4 months of rent for me into a 3-day trip to an island. Jared Leto is really making bank with this. I also can't help but think of how weird of a marketing tactic it is to call a luxury music festival experience a cult, because that's really what he's doing. Instead of saying, come pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to my luxury music festival experience, which kind of gives reminders.
It's a postmodern art piece about cults, and you just don't understand it because you're not cool enough. Jared Leto, he is an artiste. He is above us. He is smarter than us. He is better than us. He is cooler than us. This is how these like these artsy fartsy people genuinely think, and they are so insufferable. Like, so insufferable.
Of like Fire Festival. Instead of saying that, he's saying, this is a cult, I'm a leader, this is a crazy spiritual experience. I'm not sure if they're doing that to like try and justify the price or to do a big marketing ploy. All of a sudden everyone's curious, is this a cult? What's really going on here? And people actually want to pay money for the experience because of that. I don't really know. Because to me, when I see this is a cult and you have to pay $1,400 to $6,000 to have this experience, I'm like, actually all of those things sound awful and terrible, and I will avoid all of those. So cult followers are referred to as the echelon. Members of the echelon also use the hashtag.
Oh no, get it, because they're the top echelon of society, because they are the elites that get the art piece. They want to be a part of the art piece, you know. They understand what the commentary on modern society is. You don't, because you're not cool.
Tag, you wouldn't understand, which sounds like a weird mix of like an angsty teen, like, you don't understand, mom, like, you wouldn't understand, which is fitting for 30 Seconds to Mars. Sorry if you like the music. I even like some of their songs, but it is pretty angsty teen type of music. And then,
it's not angsty teen, you wouldn't understand. It's superior art consumer creative class, elitist bullshit. It's your little peon can't understand my art piece, my commentary on modern society. This is an art piece, you know, reflective of my own narrative. This is how these wankers talk. I live in Melbourne. I dated one of these guys. Please. Never. Hipster artists, not even once, girls, not even once.
And also like a cult. You just don't get it. Come join us. We'll explain everything to you. So let's watch this video that explains what is the echelon.
It is STDs. It is child. How could I word that for TOS? It is child time. It is young, soft, subtle flesh. It is the echelon.
These are all just random words. I kind of feel like it's a lazy way of putting together a cult video. The breakaway movement did a better job than this, because you just see fans that are just way too excited, and then it's just like emotions, support, understanding. Also, I love how they add support, financial support. Give me your money.
He's unifying the
Jared Leto
world.
Is uniting the world with an island trip that you have to pay thousands of dollars to go to. The world is united. Thank you, Jared Leto. We couldn't have done it without him. No more problems. Everything solved. That's when you get into really creepy cult territory. When people start crying because they're happy to be on an island where they paid thousands of dollars. I mean, I would be happy to be that detached from reality, but also, random question, but has anyone ever actually cried tears of happiness before? Like, I've seen it in movies.
Yeah, I cry. I cry all the time. I cry when I see cute things. I do cry tears of happiness a lot. But I think I need to get like my hormones checked or something. I think I just have like way too much estrogen running through my little veins. I think that might be what's going on.
And books and now here, but I've never experienced that emotion in my life where I'm like so happy that I start crying. I've never experienced that before.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Can I also just say, weirdly, I feel like Jared Leto in 30 Seconds to Mars is actually making their fan base look really bad. Showing these video clips of their fans just look...
They've always been really bad. We've always thought everybody that listens to 30 Seconds to Mars is really lame. Sorry, but that's just a fact.
So over the top, excited for like a cult recruitment video. It makes them look like these blind followers instead of just people going to a concert and having a good time. So by making your fans look like cult followers, you're kind of making them look ridiculous, and you're charging them an over-the-top amount. It feels like you're kind of treating your fans poorly and massively profiting from them while...
Yeah, he's an exploitative piece of poo. He is a giant exploitative piece of poo-poo. A poo-poo platter, if you will. A platter of poo.
Trying to tell them that it's this connecting experience where we're all families. It just feels manipulative to me, and also like they just genuinely don't care about their fan base and how they make their fan base look, just as long as they're bringing them in cash and getting that outrage marketing. Jumping up and down with their hand up in the air. That's what people do at a concert. But then when you twist the narrative into all of a sudden like this is a cult, it makes it look so creepy.
I just think it looks funny. I think they look really lame. I'm sorry, I'm mean, but... Get help. Disgusting behavior.
Like, for example, if we look at K-pop stans, I think that K-pop does an incredible job of respecting their fans and appreciating their fans. They understand that their fans have so much power, which the K-pop community does. It's incredible, it's insane, the things that they're able to move and change when they all come together.
Based
and
K-pop stan.
bands respect that. They understand that they provide a service to their fans and go above and beyond to deliver that, but still respect their fans as individuals. And it feels like this whole cult echelon 30 Seconds to Mars thing is the complete opposite of that. They don't respect their fans at all, are trying to make them look like blind cult followers. It's just this like fake way of trying to almost create the devotion that K-pop stans have with 30 Seconds to Mars, but they're not doing it in the right way.
Look at this photo. He's like, just, you know, lifting up her boob. He's like, sorry, they're not perky enough for me. I have to lift them up. And like all of her lipsticks like all over her face, like they were just pashing. And it's giving, ooh, brother, ooh.
Way at all. In my opinion, K-pop fans and stans, definitely let me know more about that in the comments below if you have any input on that as well. It feels like Jared Leto was aware of how dedicated his fans were to the band and decided to further profit off of that by creating a cult-like experience. The hashtag you wouldn't understand causes fans to separate themselves and create this us versus them mentality. So anytime their actions or what they're doing is questioned, they can just say, well, you don't understand, and go further and further down the hole of devotion. The band once even held a competition where the prize was sleeping at night in Jared Leto's bed with him. Like, that's so creepy.
He's so gross. He's so disgusting. I know how he smells just by looking at him. Like, I can smell, when I see a picture of Jared Leto, I can smell him.
In 2013, he even said, if people like 30 Seconds to Mars, they really, really like it. We have this cult, this family, these believers. They have even specifically requested that fans get tattoos in their honor, which are the triangles, the symbols. Not only do they have the Mars Island experience, they also have Camp Mars, which charges $999 for 2 nights in Malibu. And it's only for outdoor camping where you have to bring your own tent and your own supplies. And you still pay $1,000 for 2 nights. Hardcore 30 Seconds to Mars fans have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for crumbs of what other bands would charge. For example, the band charges $900 for meet and greets. To put that into perspective, One Direction has charged $658, Rihanna only charging $116 in 2015.
Aw, good for you, Rihanna. And look, she puts way more effort into her photos. She's like mounting this girl. She's loving it. She's like, yeah, Riri, ride me like a horsey. That's actually a very cute photo. It's a lot more wholesome than I described it as, but it's really cute.
And Taylor Swift doesn't charge her fans at all to meet her. And yet, in 2013, Jared Leto declared the band anti-greed. It makes me so sad because they are obviously manipulating and taking advantage of their own fans. And it's just not right. Yet they're spouting this rhetoric of like community and family and understanding when they're...
Yeah, he's a horrible person. He's a loser. He's a tryhard. He's anti-greed. But he hoards and covets money. These people, all these people that preach these kinds of ideals, they never practice what they preach. Like, you got the communists with their Gucci bags, like all these people, they're just all full of it. Like, bless her little cotton socks. She's like trying to give the benefit of the doubt. There is no doubt, like there is no doubt here to give the benefit to, darling. It's pretty cut and dry.
They're doing the exact opposite in their actions. So let's react to some footage of Mars Island in 2019.
Yeah, it's lip service. They're just saying it because they think it sounds cool and reflects well on them. Lots of people do have actions that, you know, I think a lot of the time don't listen to what people say, look at their actions. Actions speak louder than words, as the old proverb says. Like, it's intergenerational wisdom for a reason.
Camp Mars to kind of see what the actual experience is, if it's worth it, or if it's just blatant manipulation by 30 Seconds to Mars to get as much out of their fans as possible.
Give us a kiss, you sexy beast!
Yeah! He looks like he ran away from his carer. Is that girl in the red shirt over there like, come on, Jared, what did I tell you? You have to stay close to me when we're out in public. It's dangerous. There are people. Please don't run off, Jared. I don't want to get the leash out again. Jared. Like, these people are for sure his carers, right? He can't go out in public by himself without accidentally hurting himself. He's a special boy, he's old Jared.
That's cringy. The way that the audience just laughs, like that was not funny. I'm sorry. That wasn't funny. He just put on a Joker voice. He was like, haha, look at me. Joker voice. I was that guy. And everyone just laughed as if it was the funniest thing. That's creepy.
Hi. It's good to see you.
Yeah!
At the one and only Camp Mars. Isn't it beautiful here?
Yeah!
Incredible. It's a little hot.
No, it looks like a concrete garage that, like, with incomplete construction. Like, it looks like a shithole. You made your fans pay to go to a shithole. And I bet you he's so annoyed that he actually has to go out and perform. He's like, oh, can't I just take these losers' money? At least on the island I get to boink all the chicks. Like, what do I get here? Nothing.
But it's not that hot, right? I mean, I'm sure some of you came from places that are even much hotter. It's gonna be fun. You get some food?
Yeah!
Okay, we got lots of good food for you. You're gonna leave very...
He sounds like he's AI or something, and he doesn't know how to like have conversations with people. Like, I haven't been streaming very long, and I'm talking into the void, and I feel like I sound way less robotic and way more personable than him. Like, he just sounds like some type of weird cyborg or some type of like clone that of Jared Leto that like has never conversed with a real human being before. Weird.
Healthy. Everybody check out their rooms or their tents. Okay, make sure you leave your door unlocked. You never know who's gonna pay.
Oh no, he's about to say, make sure you leave your doors unlocked. You never know who's going to pay you a visit. And my can of mace will be paying a visit to your pink bits, all right? All of them. All of the sensitive areas are getting maced. And if you're not lucky even, well, I can't say that because of TOS, but just imagine what things the little panda would do if one Jared Leto decided to invade my tent.
He's dressing in all white and trying to act like this prophet, Jesus-like character, and yet he gets up to talk to his followers and he's like, so what about the weather? Haha, I was the Joker once. That's funny. Wow, so enlightening. My brain is just like been expanded 10 times. Let me go spend thousands of dollars now. I'm hooked. This is definitely an experience I have to have in my life.
As you can see, it's already white night for me. Every day is white night. Every day is white day. So tomorrow is white night, right? Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, why are you a
great.
dickhead? Were you born an F-wit or?
This is literally worst. This is worse than summer camps that I went to as a child. You had like the camp counselors that were like way too stoked to be there. I always felt awkward and uncomfortable the whole time, but looking back, I have to give credit to those camp counselors. They were excited to be there. And then you have Jared Leto here like, well, you guys.
Why do I have to do stuff? Why? You can tell he resents having to actually interact with the peasants, right? He views these people as a scum beneath their toes unless they're hot, and he can like have some groupie schmez, and then he'll just discard them like, you know, nothing, like they're nothing. But yeah, he resents the fact that like he actually has to perform for these people. Like, ooh, can't I just take your money? Or you actually want to have the experience that you paid for and like interact with me and have your photo taken with me and listen to my shitty music. Oh, what a drag. Like, yeah, everyone else has to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and go to work and leave home when it's dark and get home when it's dark. Like, you're living the dream, mate. Shut up.
You guys are here, and we're here.
Anybody gonna go swimming? Do you have your activities lined up? I think if I jumped in that pool, it would get a little gross. Because everybody would all jump in. It'd be too many. We'd be like a bunch of seals over there, flopping out on the side.
If only I could say something that basic and have like a group of people laugh. Men, women aren't funny. Men, if I go into a pool, I'm gonna flop around like a seal. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, the bar is low. The bar is very low.
Did you see that?
The bar is in hell, which coincidentally is where Jared Leto is heading. So, you know, it all works out in the end. Him and the bar will eventually meet again in the next life.
Just take your shirt off.
Riveting performance from Jared Leto himself.
She 100% has the same ADHD as me. She can't like get her words out properly. It's 100% me. I like this girl, partly because she reminds me of me. I'm like, yeah, we could be friends. Also, she's very colorful. I like her kitchen. It's very cute. I'm into the vibes.
As he tries to escape a bug. Okay, very few things were uncovered from that video. That was extremely boring, but also you could sense just like the tone of I really don't give a single shit about any of this in his voice. So that was lovely. But let's look at the closing ceremony from Camp Mars to see if it's any different.
Shannon, you want to say anything? Nope. I feel like I'm just
I am a
ready. Okay,
child lover.
We should extend it. Oh shit! If everybody pitches.
Jared's like, no, please, I want to get away. I already snuck into all the Hot Ones tents. I've gotten everything that I can. It's way cheaper than the HIS workers that I typically pay to come out to the house. And I've actually made bank from this performance and gotten free services. So all in all, I'm out on top. Let's not extend this thing. I need to go home.
A couple dollars. I think we can work it out. Just a couple.
Okay, remember that people paid $1,000 for this. You do whatever you want with your money. Like, honestly, if you got it and you want to spend it, go for it. But
and her team of incredible Mexicans as well that come. Let me tell you something.
Oh, could he get cancelled for saying that? Is that like a... I think that's not even a microaggression. I think that's just a macroaggression, right? Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. A very weird thing to say, Jared.
But both camp and California wouldn't be very much without Mexicans. That is for sure. 100%. We owe Mexico a great deal. And rather than building walls, we should just pave a giant, huge welcome sign and road. Come on up. We need more of you. In my opinion.
Here's a video of Mars Island in 2019, so let's take a look at that.
Right now.
Oh yeah.
The drumming circle.
People from Europe, South America, China. Oh, there's one. Russia, Ukraine, Canada, oh shit, Chile, Australia. It's the United fucking Nations, the world's smallest.
Let's find the Australian that went there and deport them. Disgusting behavior. You have lost your citizenship. I am sorry, but I cannot have people that lame living in my country. No, you gotta go. You gotta go, love, whoever you are. I'm sorry. I've got to get in contact with DFAT. I gotta find out who you are. Go like, did you know that an Australian went to like this weird Jared Leto thing? They'll be like, oh no way, let's find her. Like the feds are gonna help me out. I've got a feeling this is something all Australians can unite on. Let's get this chick out of here. Goodbye.
Let's backdrop.
Overall, don't get me wrong, the experience does look fun. Does it look like something that I would want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on? No. Most of the time when Jared Leto's there, he's very bored
Epstein
and very
Island.
uninterested in the conversation. It doesn't seem like the experience that Jared Leto at least is trying to make it look like it is on social media. It's great to find your people. You know, I think we're all looking for a community where we can go to and fit in and feel like we belong, but you shouldn't have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to be a part of a community and to be a part of a group of people. If it gets to that point, then maybe someone...
Yeah, I think we get the message of the video. It's only got like a minute left. Yeah, don't give your money to Jared Leto, kids. He is a narcissistic, egotistical, talentless weirdo who likes to host gigs with lots of women so he can sleep with them because he can't be bothered using his own money for hookers. And if he hosts one of these events, not only does he get free smegs, he also gets money for smegs workers when he's at home. So, yeah, onto your grift, Jared. Don't know if you're going to find any underage women that have $10,000 to go to your smegs island, and that's how you like them, isn't it, Jared? I guess you'll just have to settle for a disgusting 21-year-old or something. Well, I think that's probably good for tonight. I think I'm probably satisfied. Don't really have a lot to add other than I like that girl. She seemed cool. I like her. Oh no, that's not the video. I closed it. Oh, where did you go? I'm gonna go back and like that video. The channel was called Cruel World Happy Mind. Where's my history? Boop, boop, boop. Oh, YouTube's history's over here. Do, do, do. It's not there. Oh, yes, it is. There she is. Cruel World Happy Mind. I'm going to give it a like. And I'm going to end the stream. Thank you for hanging out. See you next time. Bye.